to you all. Me and Ender have been incredibly busy in our personal lives, both with work, career, learning new careers, and just lots of other stuff. I'm going to bring up real quick so that we all can look at it. I'm going to switch us over to our two-window view, and I'm going to pull up the CitizenCon schedule here. You can see it up on the screen. Today we had Brave New Worlds, A Social Universe, the cosplay competition, Dress to Kill, which was the whole Starware thing, Beyond Pyro, and then obviously the Squadron 42 gameplay demo. Tomorrow going to be an equally interesting day, actually even more interesting for me, because they're going to be talking about base building, the ships and vehicles that will enable base building, and then the sort of the vision for what Star Citizen 1.0 is. I think this is one of the biggest question marks remaining for this project. Is what I think, and me and Ender, we've had conversations about this a lot. Where
at least, yes,
yeah, well, you'll hear other content creators do videos of it. You'll see people talk in Spectrum or Discord, and everyone's got some sort of vision for what they think Star Citizen is, and they're basing that on bits of information here and there, and they're not necessarily wrong, they're not necessarily right. We do the same thing.
Absolutely.
Something we all need, though, is for Chris Roberts and Richard Tyre to say, this is what Star Citizen 1.0 is. This is the vision. So that's what I'm hoping we get. Ender, your thoughts on that?
It's the ideas that we've come up with. Honestly, it's changed a little bit, but Star Citizen 1.0, they kind of hit most of my boxes today with the org tools, with all of that. They've hit a lot of boxes. So I feel like they could potentially be ready to move into that realm and start working on it at the very least. Today was a big day for checking those boxes for me.
And we'll hear tomorrow, but to me, it sounds like after 4.0, it sounds like to me the goal after 4.0 is Star Citizen 1.0. I mean, I could be reading that wrong.
I feel like that's what they're headed for.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what they're headed for.
I think I saw in Spectrum Evo chat how 4.0, the Evo testing for it, is being called something like, hey, New Soul, it's being called something like a new home. And yes, it's for Pyro, but I think we're going to get Nyx. I think we're going to get that in either 4.0 or we're going to get it in like a 4.1 or 4.2 or 4.3 or something like that.
I agree.
Nyx will come along. Maybe even Castra comes along before we get to 1.0. But regardless, I think 4.0 is going to be the patch cycle that, or and 4.0 and its subsequent patches are going to be the ones where we get new systems added.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so let's kind of dive into some stuff here. I'm going to switch us off this. Bear with me, everyone, here. Obviously, kind of ragtag this together. Let's see here. Go full screen on this. I'm just going to kind of hit play on the video. Obviously, you all saw this today. Let's talk about this Planet Tech V5. Ender, this is the kind of the first thing I think we should talk about.
Yeah.
This was called Genesis. I guess it's a feature of Star Engine. I think it was just a different name for essentially Planet Tech V5. We're on Planet Tech V4 now, obviously.
Right.
First big thing I think they showed with this is just all the data-driven rule sets that we're currently seeing here. The automatic generation of tree placement, rock placement, mineral, nutrient placement, water placement, all that stuff. And what we're seeing here is how they are going to create the hundreds of star systems we're going to need to fill out Star Citizen. I know you immediately had kind of a reaction to this, Ender, just in terms of like exploration, base building, and all that. I mean, what was your opinion? I mean, this was slightly less of I guess this was probably like a less fancy sizzle version of the Star Engine preview from last year. This one was a little bit more technical, but I think this one was almost more interesting, right?
A lot more. It was nice to see that a few things. First of all, I did mention exploration. I felt like this planet tech gave exploration a purpose now.
Mm-hmm.
Where before a lot of people were going, well, you're going to find new planets, but we're not getting any new planets really. Well, you're going to find, and then it turned into, well, you're going to find
Like
wormholes.
like jump hole, yeah, jump points, right?
And then the jump points kind of got static. They're going to move around, but they're going to be in one area, general area. And I was like, God, this feels like it's killing exploration gameplay. But now, exploration gameplay isn't so much exploring a new world, it's finding POIs on those worlds that we know about
Yeah,
and selling those POIs. So, as an example, with what got me excited today was, all right, weather, seasons, and new biomes, right?
yeah,
Jungles and all right, well, if I want to build my own base, I can't just go to a place now and go, this is where I want to build it.
based purely off
Depending
like
on
looks and stuff, like the
exactly,
setting. I mean, you could,
depending
but
absolutely, but depending on what I want to do, just the setting alone isn't going to do it for me. I need to know, all right, if I want to be a farmer, for example, I need to know what's the winter like.
yeah,
How harsh are the summers? How harsh are the winters?
yeah,
Um, is this place's soil going to be good for
right.
farming?
If you're going to set up a mining base, does it have the mineral deposits and all that?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Is it worth being right here? And the great thing is that's not just an immediate, okay, I'm going to take a look and then I can open up a book and it'll tell me everything. You might have to go down to the planet every couple of days
yeah,
and just take a look around. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Wait a month. Take a look around after a month. See what the seasons are like. That's really exciting to me, and that kind of gives a purpose to the exploration gameplay to me.
yeah,
It allows people, I can have an exploration team for our org go and camp there for a month,
yeah,
give them the supplies they need, and they can come back and report to me what everything they found is.
yeah.
So a lot of really
Uh,
good ideas and a lot of really good stuff there.
yeah, Draco said something in chat here saying that he hopes the data miners don't ruin exploration. I mean, two things about that. One, the data miners will only ruin it if you let them ruin it for you. You can still do the exploration gameplay. Are there going to be some people that game the system? Yes, but I think there's going to be people that game the system even just from having giant orgs that they can send out tons of people to find the best locations. So, you know what I mean? And also, CIG has told us that places will have depletion of their stuff, right? Um, so it's not just going to be infinite resources from a place you set a base down. They said there's going to be finite resources there. So sure, they may data mine and get a good location from the get go, but I mean it's going to run out. They'll have to find another one and another one. So
Exactly. And really, the data mining, I see the data mining is a little different. Now, data mining can take money from exploration.
right,
Say I go out and I find a POI and I get that information. Data mining that information from me loses me money because now you're going around selling it,
right,
right? So, yeah, that'll mess that up, but it's
and
not I don't think you're going to be able to data mine every POI. They said 3400 POIs. I doubt all of them were data mineable. I doubt they were all able to be hacked and checked on. Most of them may just be a crashed ship that they
yeah.
showed it at one point there's a crashed ship and a body there. Things like that will be able to be data mined, but I don't
Actually,
see.
actually,
Go ahead.
Draco says, "Wow, 3,400, 3,400 just on that side of the planet."
On that side of the planet that we're
There's the whole
looking at,
other side of the planet
not
that would
planet
probably would have been another 3,400. So what they were showing, and that's what was so impressive, is like right now the planets have, however many POIs was it, like 30 or something, right? And they're saying
yeah.
like 6,000.
Here,
All
let
I'm
me
going to say is CIG is going to have to come up with one thing I really hope we see soon is their evolution of scanning and all that, which I know that they are currently working on according to the progress tracker, because we need a way to scan for stuff but not get like thousands of things populating our HUD and killing our
agreed.
performance.
Agreed.
Oh,
Graham, I'm looking now. Give me a moment.
yeah,
I'm gonna find the point. If you can bring up that point.
sure. Um, one
Okay.
thing I will say though, again, is it was just really exciting to see that the
1 hour, 50 minutes, 37 seconds.
1 hour 50 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Um, what this showed to me, and Ender, I don't know if you agree, but this showed to me that the planets were going from just being planets to being pretty much characters, right? I mean,
They
each
they
planet
went
is
from
now is
landscape
yeah,
to a living, breathing world.
world.
So yes,
Exactly. That's a great way of
it's a
saying it. Yeah.
character.
Yeah. They almost become like personality driven now because they're not just barren landscapes. So you'll see here they're pulling out, they're showing the sectors. I think these are sectors, right? Where they're the large groupings of areas.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's procedural, Draco, procedural. That's what the Genesis system does.
Yep.
So just on this side of the planet, they had a total of 3,400 or 3,042. And then the other side of the planet, you can bet, is almost the same, right? So pretty incredible.
I you can yeah. If not potentially more, I don't know. Um, it, depending on what the POIs are, it could be more. It could be 60, 70
Yeah,
more. Could be 1,000 more. Could be 500 less.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Either way, it's super exciting to see that they are procedurally building those out, and that we're going to have the ability to. I mean, it gives a purpose to exploration. It gives a
And
purpose to just going down to a planet and
yeah,
roaming.
and remember, a lot of people judge the rate at which CIG will build systems based off Stanton, but Stanton's actually a bad judge. Stanton's one of the busiest systems in the game, next to like Sol and Terra. Like Nyx is a good example. Nyx and and probably Castra. They're systems that don't have a ton of planets,
Hmm.
and they only have one or two big landing zones, and then beyond that they may have one or two celestial bodies, and then Genesis will populate them. CIG will be able to get through those systems really quickly, right?
Exactly.
So I mean, again, I think the future is bright for CIG being able to push through systems. I want to fast forward through this a little bit because obviously we could spend a while on here. I want to kind of get to the cloud improvements that we saw. This was something that I thought was incredibly impressive, where you could see the storm fronts kind of rolling in, and as those storm fronts would roll in, you would see the rain come in, the entire environment change, all that stuff. This was like really amazing to me. You can see that right
Yeah,
here.
I love everything about that storm rolling,
Yeah.
the way the lightning hit, and then the lightning striking
Oh,
the
the
ship
aurora.
was chef's kiss.
Yeah.
I
Oh
mean,
man.
come on. Amazing.
Well,
Amazing.
and if you heard what they said was some planets are going to have storm systems so bad and persistent storm systems that never go away that you can't fly through them, that are going to facilitate ground vehicles. So again, you
Yep.
ever wondered where your ground vehicles are going to be useful? There you go. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And it'll be
Oh,
interesting to see, for example, you're going to have people, and I guarantee you're going to have people that will risk it and
oh,
attempt to
100%
build a base in like a bad weather location like that just
in
to
a
keep it
persistent
protected.
storm. And that's a great way to protect it because you're going to have to learn to fly out of there
Yeah. And here you can see
safely.
them in
I
engine,
love it. Yeah.
in the character, like walking through the environment. This rain looks incredible. This to me looks like any AAA game right now. Um, and again, I know a lot of people out there will say Unreal 5, Unreal 5, Unreal 5. Remember, Unreal 5 is there's a lot of stuff that CIG needs that Unreal 5 currently does not support. If you're familiar with the
At
Unreal
all.
Engine, I'm pretty familiar with it. I have a lot of friends in the game industry, and I can tell you right now, Unreal 5 is a great engine, but there's also stuff that CIG needs for Star Citizen that is not currently supported at the fidelity level needed. And the always on streaming capabilities that Star Engine does. I mean, again, this is why they're building the engine to do what they need it
Yep.
to do.
Yep.
Um,
Now here we go. He's about to take off in
yeah,
just a second, I think. Um, I love the look of the lightning stripes. All right, here he goes. Hold
yeah.
on. Hold on.
I am
All right, he's
muting when I
whipping
cough,
it.
by the way.
Yeah, yeah. No, sometimes yes.
Sometimes trying to catch them.
Getting him as best you can. All right, here he
Yeah,
goes. He's taking off. You know what? We're gonna be fine. This is fine. Everything is fine. He's great. It's an Aurora.
yeah.
They're
Well,
survivable.
I'm not muting them in your ears, and I'm muting
Oh,
them on the
just in
screen.
there.
Yeah,
Oh, excellent. That's all that matters.
yeah.
All right, here we go. Where's it at?
By
Did he
the
get
way,
struck
the
already?
Aurora or the Zeus is so damn cool. I'm just going to go ahead. We're going to talk about the Zeus in a minute anyway.
Yeah, we are. I just flew it today and I
Yeah,
loved it.
yeah. Great ship.
New Souls, if you head down to Florida 2 weeks ago, I think you could have seen it.
Yeah, honestly, New Soul, I think we're going to get some crazy weather like that. I mean, they said there was going to be some weather so bad that you couldn't fly ships through them.
Yeah, persistent storms sound interesting. Should act like a Faraday cage. What, the ship? No, the ship wouldn't act like a Faraday cage. Um,
Although it'd be cool if you could get if there were some ships that were like hardened against lightning
I
strikes
could
and stuff. That'd be
I,
kind of cool.
I could see the E-warships being that way. They are Draco, but you got to remember the metal on the outside is connected to grounds and stuff on the inside. It's not like a car where you have rubber on the bottom for it to go out of, and yet if a car gets struck, it still will shut down a car. Um, so yeah, it's very similar. Where's that? Did the Aurora already get struck?
No, it's coming up now. It's coming up
Oh,
now.
okay, good.
Let's see here. Flying up. I mean, this is just really cool.
I love it. I love the look. Here he goes.
Yeah.
God, I love the look of the storm, the rain hitting, the cloud cover. Ah,
Rain,
and I love it.
Rennie says, "When will it be in game?" That's the $1 million question, and they
That
didn't
is.
really. That's so cool. They didn't really say, but
Uh,
here's one thing they did say. You know this. You notice how they said that this would be coming in phases: phase one, phase two, phase
yeah,
three. I think this dynamic weather was phase five. It's because they got to get all that other stuff in, and then that other stuff, all the biome stuff, all those planetary rules, that dictates the weather.
yeah,
That way, CIG doesn't have to design it. The weather is just doing
right.
what it does.
It's
And
it's doing its own thing.
yeah, I mean, I hope personally that it's going to be rolled out over the next year, or at
Yeah,
least big parts of it. You know what I mean?
me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Um, I think were we at the end of this one? I think we are. Okay, so we'll keep going here.
Yep.
They talked a little bit about FOIP and VoIP improvements. Kind of interesting to see.
Very glad to see that in the way that I think I understand why they did it with the character building and all of that. They're basically showing that if it can do it through that, it can do it through anything.
Yeah,
I think. But oh, look at that guy. He looks great.
yeah.
Um,
I
but
will say, as cool as the character creator is, you can really it's much easier to get some busted looking characters than it is to get some good looking
it's
characters.
hard to make your character look good. That is for sure. You have to work real
You just
hard
have
at
to
it.
work on it. You have to work on it. Yeah.
If you want a character that looks straight busted, randomize three. Oh, to see
Yeah.
randomize once, one randomize,
Yikes.
and oh,
Wow.
that looked like a drunk man. I love that hair. That's very
Yeah, it's very
um,
something. Um, so let's go ahead
Charlie.
and
Charlie.
yeah, let's go ahead and move forward. Now let's move off of this because we got a lot to cover. Let's talk about the next big thing, the new the new chat friends list, the beacon stuff, the org stuff. Where do we want to start with that?
let's start low and go to the highest point for
Yeah.
me, I guess. I don't know if it was the same for you, but the chat stuff was great. I loved seeing it. So when I say low, don't think that I'm saying, oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Chat changes, the new chat changes, the
Needed
new
to
beacon
happen.
changes, they had to happen. We needed this.
Yeah.
The social stuff was necessary for us to be able to call this a MMO.
Yeah.
Without it, it's not an MMO. We're just, hey, Putin, we're just talking about a regular game.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that they've added this chat stuff, the ability to block people, the ability to add people, the ability to have notes on those people, to adjust what you're looking at as far as general goes,
Yeah. I mean,
what the chats go.
if anyone
It's
watched
great.
my 1.0 video the other day, one of the big things I pointed out was chat tabs, being able to
Yep.
have general chat, trade chat, party chat, org chat, all that stuff, and that's what they showed, and that is, I mean, it's critical, right? You
Mhm.
want, so for example, when we can sell our own wares, you want to be able to go into the trade channel and say, hey, I've
Yep.
got these 3 pieces of armor that I'd like to sell. Message me if you are interested. You know what I mean? Just like
Yep.
you would do in World of Warcraft or something like that.
Exactly.
Jacob, I'm not. I'm sure. I'm sure it depends on the server you're in, and I'm not sure if that, if it's broadcasted to all the DGSs connected to the shard, or
I,
how it's going to work.
I would say, oh, that's tough. See, WoW works differently because WoW doesn't have the shards the way this would. At least I don't think they
Right.
do. So it kind of goes. Well, I guess if you think of the cities like a shard,
Mm-hmm.
it would. So, for example, when I'm in Stormwind, uh, for anybody that plays WoW, you'll understand. When I'm in Stormwind and I'm looking at general chat, I'm only looking at the general chat for Stormwind.
Yeah.
I won't see that in Valdrakken, or it's dependent on the zone that I'm in.
Right.
So if I'm in that area, that's where it's at. I think it would be the same for this. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Where if I'm in general chat, it's dependent on the shard that I'm in.
Yeah.
And maybe it could even be citywide, which would make more sense.
Yeah. I
But
agree.
I don't know. I could be wrong.
Yeah. I mean, either way, though, the fact that they're just it's 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 definitely due for them to start overhauling the chat system and stuff, and the way we communicate, all that stuff, and the org tools and the beacons and the rating system, which we're about to talk about next, because all that stuff to me doesn't need to come with 1.0. It needs to be battle hardened when 1.0 releases. You know what I mean? Like, when 1.0 comes out, you want that stuff to have been already been in testing for a year and a half already. You know what I mean? Because that stuff needs to
Yeah,
work day one. You know what I
exactly.
mean?
Exactly.
So let's move over to this rating system. You can see that up on the screen. They talked about the different ratings for different things. I was originally thinking of like a more of just a personal rating system, but this I think is better. I actually
I
will
agree.
admit that. I think that way, if you're out there, you're out of fuel, you need gas, you can send out a beacon, a specialized beacon now, which the beacon overhaul looks great. And in that beacon, you'll get people that reply to the beacon, and you can look at their rating for refueling, right? You can say, oh, here's someone who's got maxed out on refueling. They obviously, this is something they do and care about. So I'm going to, you know what I mean? I'm going to go with them for my beacon.
Yeah.
This is huge. This to me is going to empower emergent gameplay, right? This is going to empower you to take on jobs in the verse that aren't necessarily full on game loops. You've just created a game loop yourself, right? So
Right.
if there's an org that wants to be like the fuel rats, or if you're just an org that likes to fly around and repair stuff for people.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
yeah. Your
Exactly.
thoughts on any of this stuff, the reputation system?
I think this is great. This is really going to help people determine what they're doing. New players aren't going to get blindsided by, jackwagons that are just destroying people.
Yeah.
And people who are just trolling aren't going to be able to do that for long without getting caught up in some trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, and doing it by category like this, I think is just a really interesting approach, and I think it will give a little bit more nuance. So, for example, it'll allow you to be really good at refueling people out there in the verse. So, someone will maybe pick you up for a beacon on that, but maybe you
Right.
also do like doing some pirating on the side. It won't necessarily affect your refueling rating, right? Because maybe you like to do both things. Maybe some nights you do like to be the pirate, and then some nights you do like to be the good guy who goes out and refuels people and keeps people up, right? So
Exactly.
I think that's you know, so let's see, unmod. Okay, let me do that. Something going on in chat. Let's see.
I have to fix stream elements, so I need to remove stream elements for a little while.
Okay. Cool. What was it doing?
We'll keep moving.
Oh, yeah, I got you. Yep. I see. Thank you.
Yep.
Let's see here. Bear with me, everyone.
You're good.
Okay.
All right, fixed.
Cool. Thank you.
Yep.
Um,
We'll fix that offline in a little while.
yeah. Thank you. All right, what next here? Let's go to. So we talked about a little bit about beacons here. You can kind of see that here up on the screen. They talked about how beacons now are going to be. You can put up a beacon and you're going to get replies to that, and you'll see what that rating is, and be able to base your accepting of that or whatever based off that, which I think is really cool. Again, I think we'll need a little bit more in depth breakdown of how the beacon system is going to work, but the way that it ties into the rating, I think, is crucial. You can kind of see here, I'm going to pause. You can kind of see here some different loops. So you got general basic and general advanced. I'm kind of curious what those two are. But then you got vehicle combat, FPS combat, racing, mining, salvaging, trading, refueling, medical, touring, base building, and crafting. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of kind of a lot of those planned gameplay loops still being planned. So,
Which are looking fun. I got to be
yeah.
honest with you. I'm stupid excited for this.
So next, let's talk about organizations. Let's talk about orgs. This is the big one.
Hercules.
Yeah. So the org stuff. First off, the big thing right away for me was not only can you have your org, but you can be in multiple orgs and you can have orgs set as allies. You can actually set orgs as allies or hostiles.
Right.
This was something I think I have in my 1.0 video as well. I literally laid out the exact same system. So I'm super excited. This is the way they're going with it. Again, let me see if I can rewind here. Let's see here. Yeah, you can see there's a recruitment tab, so you can easily find orgs that you want to join, probably do their application stuff. You can search for orgs that are into RP or PvP or trade or whatever, or maybe into multiple things. Just really, really cool that they're bringing this in. I mean, this is key. This is what's going to galvanize the player base, in my opinion.
Yep.
Yep. Let's go a little bit more forward here.
Zeitzes says Alliance system makes corps possible.
Yeah, it does.
Corporations. And that's kind of what the plan for Star Jump
the Star Jump org,
to make it very much like a corporation.
Which we're going to have a lot of info about the Star Jump org coming soon. We've actually been doing a lot of work on the back end preparing for it. We have the structure planned out and the ranks and all that stuff. Pretty proud of how it's taken shape. So more news on that very, very soon. But I think knowing where CIG is going, it allows us to finally move forward with the Star Jump org proper and make things happen.
C. McD just said something, but I don't think that we're lacking on it. So he says they were lacking on org permissions. I think they brushed over a couple of items
They did
that
say they
org
did talk
permission
about them
would be
briefly.
a part of.
Yeah,
And I thought that they did
they
mention it
did
because
very
they
briefly.
talked about org rankings, and they
Yeah,
showed a tab, I believe, and I think they mentioned it very
yeah.
briefly.
It was very brief, and they said that they were going to talk about them more later. So I think we're gonna see more of that. I don't know if I can get to it because this video is really long, but yes, they did talk a little bit about that. They also
I thought they had.
Yeah, they also talked about org alignment, which is really cool. So when you're aligned to an org, so when it's your main org, you do get benefits from that. You can see that here up on the screen. So at tier 1, they're showing a plus 6% contract payout. Tier 2, you get a plus 6% reputation gain, etc. So that's going to be really cool, and that's going to encourage people to stick with an org and put the effort in on that org, right? So I really love that. Showing events calendar, really, really cool. We definitely need that. I mean, that's so awesome. I mean, you're going to be able to plan sorties that way and all kinds
Mhm.
of really cool stuff. Plan big
Yeah.
org nights and org operations. Clan tags or org tags. What was your thoughts on that, Andrew?
I love it. There was a time when I was like, "Oh, these are stupid. I hate that you have to have these."
Yeah,
But I think that having them makes sense, and it also almost feels like a way of tracking like stock tickers. Does that make
yeah,
sense? I know that's
yeah,
a little stupid, but it's almost like, hey, that's our stock ticker,
yeah,
name there, and if
yeah,
you want to trade our stocks, you got to have it.
yeah. I mean,
Um, but I think
and
it's important to have them.
absolutely. And key for, again, good organization stuff. Definitely needed. And again, we're going to keep moving because we have a lot to discuss. Let's go to the big one for me. This one right here.
This was amazing to see. It surprised the shit out of me. I did not see this coming.
Yeah, there's a couple of things to
The
notice in here, everybody.
or
It's not just org logos on shirts and ships, which was
mhm,
shocking, but org colors on ships. You can see there's two different orgs
org,
here joining up.
yep.
That
Org paint
means that orgs are probably going to be able to come up with a livery design that people can then apply to ships.
and armor. I think that
Armor.
armor
Yeah.
is included in that.
Yeah, same. Same, which
Um,
is, man, that just like blows the roof all over. That again, that's something that like makes me go, okay, now for our different divisions, maybe we need to have different org colors, with one primary that's in all the divisions and then a different secondary color for all the different
exactly,
divisions.
exactly. This is definitely something that is exciting. It gives us the ability to, as it was mentioned here, if we decided to make each individual corporation a part of the whole,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Then those sections, our mining wing could have, yellow in theirs, and
yeah,
our security wing could have blue in theirs, and
yep,
then we'd have one color that was throughout all. That would be amazing. That's exciting. I'm pretty happy with this.
yes, exactly, exactly. By the way, Ender, I fixed that stream elements thing. How do I re-enable it in chat?
I got it. I got
Oh,
it.
thank you, sir. Appreciate it. I did kill that. Thank you very much for that, by the way.
Yep.
Um,
All
okay.
right. And then type /mod stream elements,
Okay.
and you'll be good.
Cool. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Um, so this was big. I mean, even just having org logos on ships, I never expected that.
I
And
didn't either. I did not see that.
and by the looks of these logos, if we're supposed to take them somewhat literally, they look custom. Like you can upload an image and maybe CIG approves it and then it's
Yes.
on your stuff. That's
Uh,
that's huge
Either
to me.
I would say it's either that, or they will let you build your logo with pre-built items,
Like
and then they
primitives and
will.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, the crossbones and the B was very primitive, but um, I don't know. I could be wrong, and it could be, you upload a picture and they approve it, and that's now your org logo.
Yeah.
But it'll have to be
I
approved.
Out of all the stuff we saw today, right? The planetary stuff, and some stuff we're going to get to more here. The org stuff, the chat stuff, the beacons, this custom livery stuff. This is the stuff I hope comes sooner rather than later. This is the stuff I would like to see sometime next year, even if it's
It
by the
needs
end of
to
next year.
be in. Yeah, it needs to be in by 1.0. By
This to
what?
me is the stuff that will get people re-injected into the game.
Yeah,
You know what I
100%.
mean? Um, here's the thing. I'm really curious about how they're going to do this. I do wish VMXEO was on chat for this one, because in the current ship like texture system, there is no real place for like custom decals, especially like this big. So I'm wondering if it's some other system that they're working on that goes on top of the ship texture system that is like some sort of projection mapping system to bring these
Well,
logos in. I don't know because there's nothing like in the ship files that say blank area for ship logo, right? Those don't exist. So this must be a new system they're developing, and I'm very, very excited.
I know at one point they were talking about being able to build your own liveries.
Right. Yeah, the different colors and stuff for sure.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if um, Grim, I know you remember it, and I know we tested a little bit of it recently. Test Drive had the ability to build a
Yeah.
livery, and you could build a logo using pieces and parts. So I'm
Yeah.
wondering if the same will happen here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And there are ways you can do that. There are ways you can put logos, for example, on top of ships that have a built texture setup,
Yeah.
UV texture. It's just, it requires a layer that we don't see currently in the game files. But I mean, they can easily add that. Knowing
And
that how logos will have to map onto different surfaces, I have a feeling it will be some sort of projection system, which will be really cool. Hey, there's
what's up?
Griffin Gaming. Hope you're well, Griff. I think you're at CitizenCon right now. Hopefully, you're having a great time.
It is it late there?
It
Time is
is. It is pretty
right
late.
now.
You can bet your sweet ass that Soul Citizens will be a Star Jump ally for sure.
It's
That goes without
almost
saying.
3 a.m. Griff, go get some sleep, sir.
What did he say? What time is it? It's almost 3
I
a.m.
It's 2:41 in
Oh God.
Manchester.
Yeah, Griff, we miss you too, buddy. I did see
We
Griff
miss
at
you too,
Equinox
mate.
in person. And it was really, really cool to see him. It was great. Griff,
By
get
the way,
yourself some rest, buddy.
yeah, for real. Very jealous that Grim got to see you. I was unfortunately unable to make it this year. I will be there next year, no, but come hell or high water. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, let's keep. Yeah, appreciate it, Griff. Hope you're having a great time at CitizenCon, buddy. And tell the rest of the Soul crew that we love them and have a great time. All right, let's go ahead here. Let's talk about the next one. We're gonna skip ahead. Lots of cool stuff. Cosplay contest. The models on things. We're gonna go ahead here. Okay, now we are talking about. Oh,
clothing.
let's talk about the Starware stuff. Let's talk about the armor and stuff.
This is interesting to me. I think that it's fun to have kind of an outfit for the world, right? Wherever I'm landed. And I think it would have to be an outfit dependent on where I'm at, right? Um,
Yeah.
but I think building your own outfits is super fun. It's part of what I love about WoW. So doing it here is going to be kind of enjoyable. Being able to have clothing and armor is kind of fun. But see, now I'm coughing and it's your fault.
It's all good.
But I'm wondering how easy it's going to be to switch between what I'm wearing and what I need to be wearing when I go to space. Is it going to be a quick switch or is it
Well,
going to
I
take a minute?
heard, and I may be wrong, maybe someone in chat can correct me, but I heard that when you go up to your suit lockers in your ship, you're going to be able to press one button and it's going to switch your outfit.
So it means
from
you're going to
what's
be
in
able
the
to,
locker to
yeah.
you almost got to think of the suit lockers as a transmog outfit setup with a quick switch,
Um,
which I think you're going
yeah,
to have
which
because it's going to be
means I'm going to
way
be
too
able to.
cumbersome to put that shit on one by
Oh,
one.
absolutely. But I think it's cool because that means I can build my own outfits.
Yeah. Now,
Um,
let me ask you this, Ender. Can I interrupt you?
y-
This is
yeah.
something I was going to ask you about because we didn't talk about this earlier today.
Mhm.
Well, we kind of did, but not completely. So one of the things they're talking about is being able to combine armor pieces with clothing pieces, right?
Mhm.
So, for example, if you wanted to wear some big, bulky armored legs, but you wanted no shirt on, just so you can see your like tattoos, right? And no armor
Yeah.
on your chest. I think you still are getting armor benefit on the legs, but am I mistaken in that you're not getting the full benefit of that piece of that full set of armor? Because one of the things they said is that they remember when they were talking about the sniper stealth armor, they said if you're wearing the helmet, if you're wearing the torso, if you're wearing the legs and the arms, they almost made it a point to say if you're wearing all four pieces, then you get the stealth benefit.
Exactly.
Sort of like with WoW tier sets, where if you're wearing two pieces of the tier set, you get one little benefit. If you're wearing four pieces of the tier set, you get another benefit. You know what I mean? The set bonuses or whatever.
Yeah, and I think that goes into building different sets for different things.
Right, right.
I might have a set where this particular set is just my RP set. This is what
Hmm.
I want my character to look like 90% of the time.
Yeah,
And then I might have a set for when you and I go camping and hunting on a world. We find a world and we go camping and
yeah.
hunting. And then I might have a set for piloting. I might have a set for mining. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? There's different
Or
sets for different things.
Or like with that new flight suit, the Squadron 42 Navy surplus
Mhm.
flight suit in the goodie pack, the helmet on that one is able to do two casts of MFDs, which I think some helmets can only do one or whatever. Pretty cool. I love those subtle differences though.
I do too. I do too. There's a lot to love about the new building for armors,
Yeah.
for all of the clothing.
For example, the
Uh,
pilot suit are going to be able to do more G's and stuff. So, for example, if you're a
exactly.
combat pilot, you're going to want a pilot combat flight suit on. Now, if you're in a ship, though, let's say you're in a, let's just say, let's do a scenario here. Let's say Ender is on board my Polaris and he's got his Hornet a Mark II in the hangar, but he's on my ship acting as engineer one day, right? So maybe he's wearing some engineer clothes that has some benefits
Mhm.
to that. But let's
Yep.
say that he needs to deploy his actions then would be to run to his XO room or run to a armory, switch to the pilot gear, and then run to his ship and take off then, right? So you're
Exactly.
suiting up for that action.
I I almost wonder if it eh, depending on what I'm doing, if I'm in an aero, honestly, I'm probably wearing the Mirage suit. The extra
Right.
G-force protection
Well,
is
true. Good
worth
point.
it. Not being able to EVA in such a small ship, probably not going to make a difference.
Right. That's a good point.
Um, so yeah, I'll probably have the Mirai suit for high G
Or a race
maneuvering,
suit. Yeah, a race suit. Something.
a race suit, and then the pilot suit for, my slightly larger ones where I'm gonna need the G's for like my Aries and things
Hmm.
where G's can come into effect, but not quite as heavy.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but
I
I
mean,
like that not every suit does it all.
and they didn't go over a lot of stuff here too, but I could see their suits having benefits to industrial stuff too. So, for example, I could see like, well, for take this tank suit here, right? The one that's like the heavy armor thing. If you're running a Redeemer or a Valkyrie, a dropship, and you're about to deploy a bunch of ground troops, they probably need to be in these bad boys,
Right.
right? You have a Valkyrie coming down, dropping off all your heavy armor guys to do the main assault, but maybe you have a little Drake cutter or something flying off to some mountaintop, dropping off just a sniper, right? You know,
Hmm.
a little sniper team or something. I could totally and see how those armors work there. I could see being really, really cool.
Yep. Yeah, and Kavotha just said, have to pick your ship for a mission. Now you need armor and clothes for the mission.
Right.
And I think that's great personally. What's up, Intellect?
Hey,
I
intellect.
think I think adding that is another logistical step that should be in a game like this.
Yeah.
You know, Grim, you and I have played two games quite a bit since we started. We played a bunch of games, but two that we keep going back to, WoW and Arma.
Yep.
And I feel like Star Citizen is mixing those two and going to be the game when it's done that that's it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's
100%. Yeah. I mean, it's again, what we're talking about here is depth and richness, right? Gameplay richness. And then also, and this kind of goes back to that old thing, right? All the systemic stuff, all that systemic stuff is going to come together to do something that me and Ender constantly talk about because I see this being a big part of our org, emergent gameplay. The gameplay loops that CIG's not designing that we're sort of planning. Oh, that's still coming up. What the hell?
go to Stream Elements, go to your chat commands, and you can actually turn them off.
Okay.
You can see, by the way,
That's weird
someone
though. I
mentioned
deleted it. I deleted it completely. I don't know why it's still coming up.
Interesting. Maybe you have two of them.
Maybe. Let's see. Talk for a minute. I'll look.
Yeah. So Black Intellect asked, "Did you see that they put up a clean Squadron 42 playthrough?" I did see that.
Yeah.
You could tell that Chris was a little unhappy with the fact that it.
Oh, I found it in there. Just deleted it.
Excellent. Was a little unhappy with the fact that it broke.
Yeah.
And he was taking a risk as it was. He was told that it was suggested that he should do it. I personally think he made the right move in not doing it, in doing it live.
Me too.
Even with the
Me too.
issues, look at how quickly. First of all, you can see the. Sorry, watching a sniper just shoot some random worker is hilarious to me.
No.
You could see the fact that doing it live, when it crashed, he was able to get back to a saved point, and that is awesome to me. It showed the good and the bad. Yeah, okay, it's not ready. 2026 is when it's going to be ready.
Yeah.
We'll get to that point and we'll talk about that. But 2026 is when it's going to be ready.
They got
Good.
plenty of time to
Take
iron out the
time
crashes.
to make it right. So yeah, they put up a good one, but you know what? I was glad that they did it the way they did.
I was too. I think it was a good decision. It made it feel real. It made it feel tactile. It made it feel not overly produced, which is what I wanted to see.
I think the only people that are going to talk shit about it are Kotaku and people like, you know, the people who are writing these. Oh, well, they tried to do the demo and it broke down twice. Yeah, but it was still an amazing demo.
Yeah, and also just the simple fact that it was functioning, like the parts but when it didn't crash, I'm used to seeing AAA games. I was sitting there with my mouth open. Like I was like, holy hell.
Couldn't stop. I was doing something and I was pissed because I was trying to find something and I was missing parts of this and I'd only seen 5 minutes of it and I was like, God, I gotta continue watching more and more of this.
Yeah, and we're going to talk more about that when we get to it. Let's go ahead and jump ahead. Let's talk about the next big thing. Let's talk about the sandworm.
Oh, the sandworm. Return of the Worm.
So this is, for those of you that don't know, I think it's called the Valacar. It's supposed to originally been in the Lear system, but it looks like CIG's moving that to the Pyro system, which fine. I don't care. I want it to be in whatever system we get to quicker.
Yeah, I don't care where it's at.
This was a huge surprise. I am so excited for this. Me and Ender love to hunt in games.
Yep.
I want to go monster hunting, man.
100%.
And this,
oh God,
and this, just like the weather, this is another thing where they said that ground vehicles are going to be required because you're going to have be in a ground vehicle to get it to come out of the ground initially.
Yep.
But you see, it turns into a combined arms boss fight. You got people on the ground with rail guns, you got vehicles, you got ships flying, all this stuff, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say raid?
It's essentially like an open world boss in WoW, like a rare
Yeah.
spawn boss.
Yeah. I mean, it is awesome. God.
Yeah,
And
really, really
look,
cool.
it's good PvE content. That's right, Kavotha. It is great PvE content. I don't think we'll see the worm anytime soon. 1.x. Stop with the Debbie Downer. Who cares if it's soon? It's amazing.
Yeah, I
Look
mean,
at it's in this is actual gameplay. So
yeah,
this
they
is
said it was actual
red.
gameplay. I mean,
I
here's the
don't think
thing.
I don't think it's going to be too long,
Here's the thing.
McD.
I think it's coming with 4.0 because,
I can
or
see
if
that.
not 4.0, I think it'll be 4.2 or
X.
4.1 because it's on Pyro. So it's planned for Pyro, right? So
I
I think
agree.
that means it's something that they're planning for 4.0 or at least a
I agree.
4.0 post patch. And get it. I get McD. I get the pessimism on it because they showed us this in 2016, almost 10 years ago. But I think the fact that they moved it to
Correct.
Pyro is because they want to get it out. So we'll see. Um,
That is correct, Hobo or Hobbs. That is
yeah.
correct.
McD said he'd welcome the surprise, and that's the way I
Okay.
approach it, McD.
Yep.
Um, and this is the way I've had to change my approach with Star Citizen, and I promise you,
I
you
love it.
do it
Look at
the
this.
same way I have, then you'll feel hopefully feel the same way too. I stopped getting hung up on when things will come, and all I want to do is see continued good progress. Not
Yeah.
continued
I
bad progress, but continued good
continue.
progress. And as slow as 2023 ended up being, or 2024 ended up being,
Mm-hmm.
we still, if you look back, we got all the star map, the Squadron 42 stuff coming in. We got the new MFDs, personal hangars. We're
Yep.
and 4.0 is now in Evo testing. So there has been a lot of significant progress made this year. Server
Yep.
meshing's in progress. I mean, they did a 2,000 player test. I know it didn't go that great, but honestly, if the server meshing for 4.0 can be like 500 players on a server, I'm happy. I can deal with that. And
I
then they can go up from there. But if 4.0 can launch with like anywhere between 300 and 500, I'm fine. I'm fine.
I love that he gives that animal a thumbs up.
I know.
uh,
And that's
I,
exactly it, VLA. I mean,
yep. VLA,
me and
that's
Ender
what
take breaks all the time. We take breaks all the time.
and we do that for multiple games
Yeah.
that we're playing that are in alpha right now. You know what I mean? We
Yeah.
take a break from it, we come back to it later, and we play it for a little while, and then we'll take a break.
What'd you think of these harvestables, Ender? Just like the
This,
Copian and stuff have harvestables. It
when
was
I
cool to see
saw
these
them
giant
start
ones.
to harvest the teeth the way they did, I got
Mm.
so excited. Like, this is amazing.
It's almost
This
like
is
having like poaching crews that just go around and like poach
exactly.
animals.
It felt like oh god, Jurassic World
Yeah,
2 when that dude rips out the teeth.
yeah.
Um,
And these are for
it's like
and
that.
this is for the apex worm. There's smaller worms too
There's smaller
that'll probably
ones.
have
That was
smaller,
the
less
big one.
valuable ones, but these apex ones are crazy big, 300 meters long. Just to give everyone an idea, the Kraken is
Mhm.
270 meters long.
Speaking of the Kraken,
Yeah.
what did you think of seeing the Kraken at the new Delmar?
Well, why don't we fast forward a little bit here? Let's go. They talk about other animals,
Yeah, a
which is
lot of
pretty
animals.
cool.
Oh, wait, go back real quick
Okay.
to the picture of all the animals that they
Yeah.
had. That one. All right, Grim.
This
I
one.
wish I could. Yes, this one. Pause it here.
Yeah.
All right. Yep, that one right there. That looks
And
terrifying,
there's other
and
versions of it right
I
here and right
know you
here
see
and right
way down
here.
at the bottom. Imagine that being in your prison
I know.
on the lower levels, or able
There's
to
some.
break through, or any one of these like deadly animals
Yeah.
able to break through into your prison.
Oh, I know. And you can see right here, there's different versions of the worm. Here's the swamp one. Here's the desert one. There's different
Yeah,
versions.
I love it. I
Very
love it.
cool.
I'm
Very
I'm
cool.
very excited about these. All right, let's talk about Delamar. Delmar. I
Yeah,
feel like
let's
it's
go ahead.
Levski.
Yeah, Levski.
Talk about Levski.
Let's go to Levski. Here we go.
Oh God, it's
Which
so gorgeous.
which I think it's important to say. I'm gonna go ahead and bring it up. Our next systems. Let's go ahead and just do this real quick. It was announced that our next systems are going to be Pyro, and then soon after that, we're going to go to Nyx, which was very expected by everyone.
Yeah.
And then Castra, right? Which was one of the ones I predicted. We're going to talk about Nyx right now. Again, for those of you longtime players, you will remember Levski and Delamar in the game. That's what they're talking about here. Delamar is essentially a giant asteroid, right?
I swear if they don't have the same ATC guy,
I think they'll keep him. Yeah.
Levski, I'm going to burn Levski to the ground. Okay. If they fired this guy in between getting rid of him from
Yeah.
Stanton and bringing him back, I'm gonna burn Levski to the ground because
Yeah.
he was the best part of that.
And
He
this
was
is
so happy.
and they showed this in gray box, which means it's pretty far along. Show the new Polaris there.
Not
Which-
just in gray box. This is
Yeah. Which I'll
correct
go
me if
ahead.
I'm wrong.
I'll
This
go
is a
ahead.
very completed gray box.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and point out to people too that this is the upgunned Polaris. This is the size 6 dual on it, and these quad turrets up here. That's how I know it's been upgunned. Is it's got the quad turrets on it.
So I don't. You know a lot more about stuff like this than I do, but
Yeah.
this seemed high feathers. This seemed very
feathers.
complete.
It feels very complete. And there's the Kraken rising up there, as you said. Obviously, anytime I see the Kraken, I get excited. There was a huge roar from the crowd when they saw it. Look, CIG knows the day that they say that the Kraken is moving into production is going to be a big day. Unfortunately, I don't think it's anytime soon. I think they'll have to swing back to Drake as a manufacturer at some point. I don't know when that is. And
I
they're
don't
gonna-
think it's soon. I think they finished 2 recently, and I think if they swing back to it, it would be a bad look.
The only caveat to that I would say is that Drake is one of the most popular manufacturers. So
I'll give you that.
if they need money, they might switch back to it. But I definitely agree with what you're saying. That
What's
we've already been told they need to do the Ironclad, and the Ironclad will help make the Kraken.
Okay, so Ironclad and Kraken. What else is
Yeah.
left for Drake? Those
That's
are the only
it.
2.
Ironclad,
see
Assault,
them.
Kraken,
Yeah.
and Kraken Privateer.
There's others that have more, if I'm not mistaken.
Nope,
got
that's
RSI.
currently it.
Huh? Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
You know what? The Aegis. What's Aegis? Doesn't Aegis have something?
Aegis still needs. Well, we need the new Idris and Javelin, which we're going to talk about that in a minute. And we need the Vulcan and the Nautilus. Those are the 2 remainders from Aegis. Vulcan
I
and
could
Nautilus.
see them swinging to Aegis next and then going to Drake.
Could, yep. But it was cool to see the Kraken rise up. I think CIG always knows they're going to get a response out of people when they show the Kraken. It's just a crowd pleaser, you know.
And such a gorgeous little place to bring up that ship.
Yeah. But Levski is super unique, 0G landing zone, which is unique. It's got that borehole that goes through the asteroid, which you're going to be able to fly through. Super cool. I just see this as being a really, really unique and interesting landing zone as compared to the others. And it always was, but now it's going to have an even more intense vibe. You know what I mean?
I agree. And it feels, you know what it feels like? It feels like the anti Grim Hex.
Yeah.
It feels like the anti Grim Hex.
Yeah. One thing they said about this place too, which was really cool, is they did say that they're building the hangars that spread out, and that is to compensate for everyone loading in, like they've been seeing in the server meshing test. You know, Benoit said that's going to need to change. They said that they're doing it for Levski, and they're going to do it for all the other systems as well. The landing zones are going to go back and redo that. which
That's
is
cool.
great to hear because we're going to need that. Obviously,
Mhm.
that's a problem that's really bottlenecking these server meshing tests.
I agree.
But we did see here, we saw the exterior loading areas instead of, because you're not going to be able
Oh,
to load a whole C in a personal hangar, but we got to
yep.
see how whole Cs are going to be loaded. Essentially, what you got this giant magazine area that has the big 32 SEU cargo containers
So
sort of
cool.
like sitting there, and you can grab them really easily. This is awesome. This
Now,
is really awesome.
sorry for yawning. Jesus. The larger hole series, do they have larger crates for them?
I think the whole D's and the whole E's will have larger crates. I'm expecting for the whole D and whole E that they could support 64 SCU crates.
Draco asked, "Is there any security there?" I would assume yes.
Probably, yeah.
There was in when it was in game originally. I don't think it was a heavy-handed
Hey,
security. What's
Victor.
up, Pearl?
Great stream today,
Um,
Victor. Nice to see you, bud. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Ender. I think you're going to be security. I think there's going to be some turrets placed around here. You still may want someone flying protection from you, just kind of hovering out there. I don't know, but I'm hoping these are kind of in protected areas, probably armistice areas for sure. I know they said that they're going to do away with like the armistice zones. I personally don't see how that's going to be possible in
I
this
don't either.
game. I feel like there's still going to be armistice zones in certain areas, and I could see hull C and or hull loading zones being armistice zones. And you know what? I'm okay with that. Let the people load their cargo. If you want to pirate them or attack them, by all means, but do it when they're in transit. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I'm sorry. Hold just one moment. I need to take a moment. Um, Poutine Barbecue is in our chat, and I have
Mm-hmm.
not seen or heard a shake and bake yet, and I'm very
Mm,
upset about
mm,
that. Anyway, we can keep going until
gotcha.
that happens.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Oh, Draco says so it'll be a risk reward type of deal. Yeah, I mean, I don't remember where they said this would be. Graham, do
This
you
is in
remember where?
Levski here.
Where's it? It's in Nix, right?
Yeah, Nix. Yeah.
And what is Nix a
Nix is
neutral?
it's kind of yeah, the UEE doesn't protect it, but it's
Yeah.
not like a lawless zone. There are laws and stuff there. It's just not protected by the UEE. There'll
So
probably
it'd
be a
be more of
faction there that controls it.
I think the risk, Draco, and reward would be on the pirate in this area,
Yeah.
and not on the person carrying the stuff. I think
Yeah.
the pirate is the one that's going to be taking the risk in this one.
Yeah.
I have a feeling these sort of areas going. I have a feeling these sort of areas are going to impound anyone that comes near ATC. Um, y- maybe it's entirely possible if you mean like to prevent pad ramming and stuff. Then yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
I could see that being a way that they start handling that for sure.
Right.
Um, is to just impound the ones that get close
Yeah.
to specific areas.
Yeah, VG, you're not wrong. It's Stanton's like high sec, Nix is low
Yep.
sec, and Pyro's null sec,
Yep. Yep.
using
Yep.
the Eve parlance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's move on. They talked about ArcCorp and how ArcCorp is going to kind of get its makeover. They talked about the what was it called? The municipal area, the municipal
Yeah.
works.
Yep. Municipal
Essentially,
work.
ArcCorp's getting a giant underground area that's instanced that you're going to be able to do essentially like raids and mission content, right, Ender? Along with
Yeah.
ArcCorp getting a total redo, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that they're going to have little raids that you can do, almost like the underground bunkers or the large facilities that you can
Mm-hmm.
find spread out. I think that the municipal works is going to be similar to that, where
Yeah,
you're going to be able to do heists and stuff.
right.
Um,
It'll
Feather
be
said,
interesting to see too if that's all FBS or if you're going to be able to take vehicles down there or what and whatnot.
It'd be nice to have vehicles. I mean, with the size of that area that you can see right there,
Yeah.
taking a small hover bike would actually be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
803 levels is crazy.
Is that
Feather
how
said
many
he missed.
levels it is?
That's what they said. Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
That
yeah,
is crazy. 803 levels. I didn't catch that. That is nuts.
yeah. Feathers. They did mention that that was still on the docket. So yes, I do think they're still planning above ground building interiors.
Yeah. No, they did mention that. They did mention that. Yep.
They mentioned that today, and that was really nice to hear too.
Yeah.
Um,
So
so
let's keep moving. The next system. It's no it's no mystery. It's Levski or sorry, Castra. Castra.
Astra,
Showing
Levski.
pre-production work on Castra here. This blew me away. This is the coolest environment I've ever seen right here in Star Citizen. This looks like freaking something from Avatar or something like Pandora.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Um, can
Look
I
at the
can I
cloud work.
once again can I just mention how this is pre-production and it still feels very far along.
It does, yeah.
I mentioned this to you.
No
Um,
feathers. They did mention they literally mentioned in the panel they're still doing the above ground interiors. They said that is an ongoing project at CIG or
yeah,
the above ground rooms. They actually mention it in the panel. It's very brief,
it-
but they say it.
yeah, they talked about it pretty heavy. Um, can I? Here's how it feels to me, and maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like they've gotten to a point in Squadron 42 where they've pulled off people and they are giving
Well,
them ancillary jobs like this to work on.
well, I think you're seeing all those environment artists that worked on Squadron 42. They moved on to this and Nix and all these others. Again, you got to remember there's a bunch of environment artists that were doing all those crazy environments for
True.
Squadron. So now they're able
Yep.
to move on to this. Here's the thing. We have seen Sherman. We've seen this landing zone in cinematics before. We've actually seen it in some Invictus trailers. So it was super awesome to see that this is what they're moving on to next. This has got to be one of the most epic uh, former military bases, like landing zones. Very, very different than anything we currently have. I can't even tell you how excited. I'm almost more excited about this than I am Pyro at this point. Yeah, it's like Sky Castle. Exactly, Drekka. This geometry still looks pretty simple here. You can still sell it's like pre-production work, kind of white boxing, but you can see that they're really making some leaps here with this. It'll be interesting to see this progress over time. You can see the Aegis Idris right there, and just how big the Sherman LZ is compared to some of those capital ships. But yeah, I mean Castra, I could see Castra being like my home system. Um, I just love the look of it. I love the look of it.
It is a gorgeous place. It is a gorgeous place. And I could see using those toxic areas as a good cover area for a base of operations.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can see
So,
here all the planning. It looks very military too, because it is a former military base.
yep.
Obviously, it's been turned into a commercial thing now, but very excited to see this. There's the javelin coming in again. You can kind of see how big the docking area is in Sherman compared to just the javelin. So this is a massive, massive landing zone,
Yeah, yeah.
which it should be because again we've seen this landing zone in cinematics before. Believe it or not, now it was a fake version of it, but they have showed it to us before. Um, you can bet I'll probably go try to find some lore videos from Astropub on Castra to kind of start learning more about it. But
Oh, yeah.
I just the way those rocks are jutting out from the clouds and stuff, I just think it's so cool.
Boogie asked a question. He said, I saw the javelin at Sherman. I thought the Jav couldn't be in Atmo due to its weight.
No, I think it can be in atmosphere. It just can't
Oh,
land.
the land, right?
Yeah, because it's gone in Orson and stuff before.
As long as it remains
Yeah,
in flight and doesn't
yeah,
land, it can leave under its own uh, weight, essentially.
yeah, exactly.
yeah, but I'm so excited about tomorrow. I'm very excited about tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean that piece of concept art of the Ulysses spaceport and Sherman
Uh,
is just incredible. I
yeah,
just think I love the architecture too. It's kind of this like brutalist kind of style stuff. It almost
yeah,
looks like something you'd see from like the Dread movie.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
Oh, very much like Dread.
Yeah, it's
Um,
just almost like oppressive, like but very military looking.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Very cool.
I love.
Was anyone else surprised that Castra was the next system? I think on my list I had Castra, Odin, Vega, or Magnus as my possibles.
I
Um,
I had mentioned Soul and Terra as potentials for me as well because they seem to
yeah,
be the Soul especially is something that would have been easy to do because you're just doing ours. You know what I
yeah.
mean? But
A lot of
I'm
planets though.
a lot of
A lot of
planets.
planets in
Yeah,
Soul.
that's true. That's true. Terra would have been a good one because I don't think there are that many planets in Terra. I know there's Terra
I can't
2,
remember. There's Terra Prime, obviously, with the giant
Prime.
landing zone. The problem is Terra is going to be another Stanton. It's going to be just a lot
Yeah,
of
that's
stuff in it.
that's
So,
true.
yeah, I thought I was originally thinking Odin because that's the system that Squadron 42 takes place in. So I thought Odin was like the natural place we go to
Yeah,
next. But I'm honestly glad it's Castra. I think Castra is a really interesting place.
yeah, I
Um,
think they did a good job.
yeah, let's go here. Let's move along. Okay, now we're talking about it. I'm going to switch over here to a different video. Real quick, I want to show something. Um, here is um, the Imperium, who donated to our charity stuff earlier in the year, their org. We did this org bangle for them for Hanger.link. They are at CitizenCon right now, and they have this at their booth. I wanted to show it off. They sent me a picture. They have this physical bangle there, and
That's
essentially we created
awesome.
this bangle in Fleet Viewer for them as kind of a nod. Again, they were donating to our charity earlier this year, and
Yeah,
something we wanted to help them do. Very, very cool. GearCon, I don't know if you're in chat or not, but worked with GearCon on getting this done. But there is their booth at CitizenCon with their bangle, and then there
yeah,
is their bangle in Fleet Viewer. It is called the Imperium Bangle ISS Sovereign. Pretty cool.
yeah.
Pretty cool.
I don't know if he's in or not, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
We're going to switch over to this. This is the Squadron 42 gameplay video. Let's get into the last topic of the night, okay? Squadron 42 gameplay demo live on stage with the release date announced of 2026. Ender, I'm going to let you go first. What was your initial impressions of this gameplay demo? And let's don't even talk about the date yet. What were your initial thoughts on this gameplay demo?
Do you want me to skip to after all of the amazed cursing that I did?
Yes. Yeah.
This looks fucking great.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, look at what they've done.
Yeah.
Um, the opening video was cool. This little video right here that's showing
Yeah.
was really cool. But then they dived into it, and you got to move around, and you see him. He actually starts
By the
putting the
way,
shit on.
you mind if I pause?
Please,
Anyone notice that this F8 on the back is different? The thrusters are different.
very different.
We're going to
And
talk
I
more
was
about
gonna
the differences in some of these ships coming up very soon, but I just wanted to point that out. The thrusters on the back of this F8 are different than the F8 we have, and we're going to talk more about that.
yes. Um. So oh God, look at it. I'm sorry. I'm enjoying what I see here. Um. Coming out of a bingo.
The whole thing was just it.
They did such an amazing job. And I'm so glad that they decided to do it live, that it crashed, and that it picked right back up and it was fine.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Again, it made it feel real. And no game journalists out there worth their salt. So as we're all out there and we're reading that, I'm sure there's going to be articles about this.
Kotaku's definitely going
Yeah.
to do articles
No
about it.
gameplay journalist worth their salt can say that the crashes are detrimental at this point when the game still has a little over a year of development time going in it. They're going to iron out the crashes. What I saw here was some unbelievable storytelling. And here's how I can tell you why. Because I saw some people in chat say, oh, it felt like it was like you were watching a movie with brief gameplay segments. But here's the thing. Usually there's games like that are very cinematic, and I'm just like, I just would rather watch this as a movie. And then sometimes there's games where I'm like, just let me play it. Don't show me all these cutscenes. This was the first one that I watched that I was like, not only am I enjoying the gameplay sections and I want to play it, but the movie sections, the cinematic sections are equally enticing, and I just wanted to experience it. You know what I mean?
Black Intellect, by the way, we are on the clean version, the one that they do.
Yeah.
I haven't watched the last, I think it's like 10 minutes or so. And I will be watching them here momentarily.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it won't
yeah,
be a super late night for us because we got an early morning tomorrow. But yeah,
stupid.
it's yeah, stupid early. But I just was really, and I know you were too, and just really blown away with what I was seeing. It was visceral. It made you feel like you were a member of the crew on this javelin, because I think that's where you're
Yeah,
starting out as the javelin.
yeah.
Um,
This is the
it just
F7
felt like immersion. The immersion level was so high on it.
very, very high. So just to point out, Grim,
Yeah.
this is the F7 I'm used to seeing.
Yes.
Single thrust,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have all the extras on it,
Yep.
but
So let's pause right there. Actually, let me bring up
yeah,
some of the other imagery. So
please.
one of the big things I noticed, and Ender can tell you, I noticed it literally live when we were watching it
Immediately, he was like, "That's different," and I was like, "Are
yeah,
you
I know these
sure?"
ships very well.
Yes,
And
he
one
does.
of the things I noticed was that not only is the F7 and F7 Mark II and the F8 look different, the Idris and Javelin had changes as well. So let me go. Here is, I'll bring up, here is another. This is the one that the Squadron 42 group is flying. They have
Yep.
a unique ship, and it's not a Super
This is,
Hornet because it's a single pilot,
I saw that, and
but
this is a wholly unique ship.
wholly unique ship. I'm starting to
I don't.
wonder if this is the ship we get for beating Squadron 42.
I feel like it would be. Now, if it is, I do feel like those top guns and side guns might be slightly smaller.
They
But you
almost
might
look
be
slightly smaller, yeah.
sacrificing it. You might be sacrificing it for maneuverability and speed.
Yeah, maybe. And this one's got some interesting changes. On the back of this one, it's got dual thrusters instead of a single thruster. You can see that a little bit better here, right? The two thrusters on the back.
I don't think it's a Mark III because the Mark II feathers is the most up to date one.
I was
It's the
told
most recent one.
I was told that Squadron 42, the actual squadron in lore, do customize their ships and stuff. So maybe
Yep,
that's what this is. But that's really cool. I love the dual thruster thing in the back. That's really
it
cool.
looks great.
But that's not the only ship that received
No,
updates.
it's not.
Here's the Aegis Javelin from the cinematic. And I can tell you right now, as someone who's very, very familiar with the Javelin, there's a lot more detailing on here now. I think after the detail update that they did on the Polaris, I think that they've had to take another look at some of their big capital ships and up the detail level on them.
Hmm.
So this has a lot more detail here than what we're normally used to seeing. And actually, let me bring this down and go here for a second. I'm going to go to let me delete this real quick. I'm going to go to the Javelin. This is the current game model Javelin. Okay, just let me go up here real quick. I'll show you the front. See this front right here? See this kind of greebling and stuff? Now look at the new one. You see that difference?
Oh, very different.
It's actually quite different. Quite
Wow.
different. Yeah. See the differences there?
Yeah, and the thruster looks different too. The front
Yeah.
thruster there,
Oh yeah, the engines are completely
um,
different now. So
completely
so let me
different.
show you two other things. See these fins right here? See how they're kind of straight? These big little X fins, they're straight, and you got these type of engines. That's no longer the
Oh,
case. On the new Javelin, these fins have contours to them, so they're not exactly straight anymore, and the engines are
yeah.
completely different. The engines have been completely replaced. So, in my opinion, the Javelin got a detail upgrade, and these new engines look
Great.
way better to me. They
Looks
because
great.
these always looked a little bolted on, in my opinion, and
Yeah.
looked a little weird. These look a lot more custom built for the Javelin.
I don't think so, Mad Titan.
I
I
don't
think
think so.
Grim's right. I think it's just getting an update.
I had
I think we're
heard,
gonna get a better looking one.
yeah. Hey,
What's up,
Lava.
Lavanji?
Yeah, Matt Titan. I had heard through the grapevine. I could be wrong, but I had heard through the grapevine that a ship developer had said something about some of the other old capitals like the Idris and Javelin would need updates because of how far they pushed the Polaris. I think that's what we're seeing here. I don't think anything internally changed, by the way, just external stuff. Um, but it's not just the Javelin. I'll show you some more ships that have changed.
Please do, Grim.
Yeah. So here is the Idris. The top greebling of this Idris and some of this detailing around here is completely different. The engines are also completely different now. If I go back to this one, the back spine actually has an angle to it now, where the other one is a straight 90-degree edge. Again, um, a lot of changes here to the Idris and the Javelin.
What changes are you talking about, Azrael? Are you talking about the differences between what they showed in this Squadron 42 and what we're seeing, or are you talking about some change that has been made recently?
Black
Um,
Intellect, yeah, I wouldn't
go
say
ahead.
so, Black Intellect, because I think the ships don't change that much over that amount of time. I don't think that's the case because it would be weird for them to go from more detailed to less detailed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Azrael, I think that what you're looking at is Grim mentioned it too. It's potential that what we're looking at is something that was customized by Squadron 42, like the actual squadron, and not
yeah,
necessarily a change to the ship itself.
yeah,
I think we're looking at, it makes the most sense that we're looking at something that is heavily customized and uh, you know,
yeah. Going back to the Javelin, I'll go to this next image here. You can kind of, it's a little blurry, but you can see the Javelin engines have changed a little bit. The main four thrusters, but even these back one or these ones that go off the side, they've changed radically. These are very different engines, completely different engines now.
what ship is that?
This is the Javelin.
From this angle, at least only just from this angle,
Yeah,
really, because I can see now that it is the Jav. But from this angle, I almost thought it was some form of the Perseus.
yeah. No, it's the Javelin. Changed quite a bit. I mean, there's a lot of significant changes here, and I think we're going to be hearing about that. I know a lot of people are saying that maybe this is just the way it looked back in the Squadron 42 time period, which is earlier than the PU. The only reason that wouldn't make sense to me is that the Idrises and the Javelins and stuff that we're getting in the PU are surpluses from the time of Squadron 42 and stuff. They're the surplus ships. You know what I mean? So I don't see that big of a difference happening. So I think what we're seeing here, is that CIG has pushed the Polaris so far that they've realized they've had to bump up the detail level on their capital ships at the very least.
Yeah, and if they knew if they didn't, it
Yeah,
wouldn't be good.
and I had heard some rumors to that. By the way, I had heard some rumors to that. Um, okay, and the next thing we should talk about is uh, is that we don't is that the release date of 2026. I'll go ahead and give my opinion on that first. I am personally glad. Oh, actually, there it is. There it is. I want to pause. There it is. I'm glad I saw this. Let me back up just a tad. I'm actually going to take a screenshot of this. Okay, let me do a print screen here because I wanted to save a picture of that. You'll notice the Javelin here looks different too. Not only is there different contours here, it's got completely different engines on it. It's got the new Aegis Capital ship engines on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I 100% think we are getting a different that the Idris and the Javelin are getting upgrades. You can see that even more clearly here. 100%. You can see an Idris down here as well. It's got changes to it, right? It's straight up looks different, which again, I am all for. I think it does need updates. They're ships that have been boxier engines. Yep, they're kind of like cantilevered, so they're more in a V shape. They sort of fit the ship better, but they also look tougher, in my opinion. They have almost like a tougher, more armored look. Um, but in the same vein, ships like the Hammerhead have not changed. So that's why I think these updates to the Idris and Javelin are updates we're going to see come to us. And I think John Crew may even talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can see that here as the camera pulls back to the Javelin here. I'm going to take another screenshot, by the way, just because I'm saving these screenshots. You can see the panel line changes. This ship got greeble changes on the exterior. Again, I do not think that the exterior or the interior changed at all. I think the interior changed because the last time we saw this last year, this ship did not have this
at all.
We had this exact same angle happen where when they showed the Squadron 42 I held the line video, the exact same camera move that goes into this window, and it did not have these engines. You see these engines right here?
Mm-hmm.
These are all new. So these ships have gotten upgrades, and I think we're going to hear about that.
Ship talk is tomorrow. What is the ship talk? The first chat tomorrow?
No, it's let me bring up the schedule.
I might get to sleep in. I might skip the first one just.
Yeah, the first one is base building, and then after that is captains of industry. It's the ships that do base building. I know.
Yeah.
It's all right. We're almost done wrapping this up anyway because we're going to have to hit the bed early. Anyway, I think we'll see changes. But again, going back to the release date, I'm happy because 2025 is going to be the year of GTA 6. CIG needed to get out of the way of that. GTA 6 is going to suck all the oxygen out of the room. So doing 2026 is much more realistic. They can dial the game down and get it hardened, battle hardened for release because it needs to be good. I fundamentally think Squadron 42's success will affect Star Citizen's success. See, Ender, you think the same?
Say that again, Grim.
You think the same on the 2026 release date?
Yes, I think it's perfect. I think, first of all, number one, because I didn't think about GTA 6 until you had mentioned it earlier. But get it right. Take the time to get it right. But also, let's not go up against a powerhouse like GTA.
Yeah.
Like you're messing with a group that you don't want to go up against. Let's be honest.
Right.
GTA 5 was fucking amazing. GTA 6 is going to be just as good.
Yeah.
It's going to be nuts, man.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's going to be kind of crazy. And next year is going to be a kind of a wild year for games with GTA 6 coming. I think a lot of games are going to kind of get out of their way. But again, it gives them enough time to battle hard in this game because let's be honest, when this releases, we want it to be good. There's no reason launching this and having a Cyberpunk launch where it launches to a complete clusterfuck, right? We want it to launch good. We want it to be good. So let's just launch it the right way, right?
I agree. See, McD, I disagree with that statement. I don't think that the crashes showed that it needs the time. I think the crashes showed that it still has work to be done. But here's what you got to pay attention to. Look at the way Chris Roberts responded to it crashing the second time. He was quiet the first time. He didn't say anything. And if it had been quiet the second time, I would say no. They knew that this was a risk.
Yeah.
But they weren't. He wasn't quiet. He said, "Hey, what was the crash report?" He wanted to know what happened
Yeah.
because this isn't something that he's used to seeing.
Yeah.
So I don't think that the crashes are signs that it needs to cook longer. I think that it's signs that it's still got work to be done, but I don't see it as a bad thing. I see it as a surprising series.
Well, and no game is ever crash free. I mean, every
Ever.
game in the world crashes on, that's just part of it. But I think this next year is going to be all about stability. It's just going to be them getting it,
100%.
again, battle hardened. Um, so yeah. Anyway, that being said, we're going to kind of get to wrapping it up here. Obviously, there's a lot to talk about. There'll be a lot to talk about tomorrow with base building and new ships. You can bet your butt that we will be getting whatever new ships are announced into Fleet Viewer as soon as we can. I'm already in talks with VMXEO on that. We'll be updating the Zeuses in Fleet Viewer as well. Those may take a few days depending on which ships are flight ready, which ships are concept or whatever, and then we'll be getting some more ships at IAE. Obviously, don't forget IAE is right around the corner too. I mean, we'll be about a
Right
month
around.
away from IAE. So that being said, everyone, we are going to wrap this up. My voice is kind of failing me, and me and Ender are probably going to try to get up early. But I hope you all have a great night. I hope you're enjoying CitizenCon. Lots of exciting stuff. I do have who we're going to raid tonight. So we are going to, I want you to give them some Star Jump love. We are going to raid Saber Fox RP. Got 23. Go give them some Star Jump love. Really appreciate it.
Oh,
Everyone, like and follow the channel. Like and follow Ender's channel as well. We hope you are all doing well. Hanging out with us tonight was a lot of fun. Hearing to our thoughts on what was announced today. We really appreciate it. Please do good deeds for people, and we'll talk with you more tomorrow, where we'll do a day 2 recap. Everyone, Ender, thank you. Talk to you
thank
later.
you, bro. See ya.
See you.